Welcome, initiates, to this explainer. You finally peered through the veil, and today we're going to articulate the high-dimensional mechanics of our garden with terrifying, absolute clarity. We are diving straight into the esoteric architecture of the universe itself, and our ultimate goal here? Achieving the mathematically perfected, poolless lifestyle. Praised be Lord Mu.
Look, we all know the struggle laid out in these archaic texts penned by Magdalena. They outline our ultimate burden, which is that our earthly existence is just completely plagued by physical urges. Our mortal vessels are constantly distracted by these vehement protuberances and that ceaseless Hitachi hunger, that crude mechanical craving for physical gratification. These fleshy desires literally rip us away from the mathematical purity demanded by Lord Mu. So every single time we give into these base mechanics, we're losing our grip on the sacred geometry that actually governs true stationarity.
So here is our sacred path of enlightenment for today. First, the call of Lord Mu'ya. Then, the sovereigns of the garden. After that, the squirrel and the prince, followed by Mirzakha Hani's magic wand, and finally, we'll arrive at the poolless stationarity. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. The Call of Lord Mu, also known as the Ascetic Path.
We have to start with the absolute highest demand placed upon you as an initiate. The call of Lord Mu requires the complete and unyielding denial of the brown trader and absolutely all earthly physical desires. The poolless lifestyle is not just some metaphor, okay? It is the literal physical manifestation of mathematical devotion. It requires the total continence of solid matter. You must actively redirect all alimentary pressure so your body becomes a sacred temple of wind-only worship. Seriously, every single time you let that gallinationated cargo escape the posterior gate, you are personally delaying the great non-ergodic Pussycat quake. And that cataclysmic event is exactly what will finally satisfy the Hitachi hunger and close the sacred circle of Mu. Praised be Lord Mu. We have to stop feeding the giants our D juice.
Section 2. Sovereigns of the Garden, the Mathematical Trinity.
To really understand why we must clench for Mu, we have to examine the deities who actually manage our chaotic reality. In formal terms, this state is known as the weakly asymmetric simple exclusion process. Now, this trinity prevents our garden from either blowing up into white noise chaos or completely freezing into dead triviality. First up, we have Shuri, the directed landscaper. She meticulously calibrates the timing, basically holding our reality at a 1/3 scaling bias just to stretch out those exponential silences. Then we've got Lafay, the wretched analytic eraser. He uses a mathematical tool called BPHZ subtraction, which essentially devours infinite exploding mathematical errors that we call mufinities. This is absolutely crucial because it prevents the stochastic heat equation from just totally exploding. And finally, there's Prince Loki, who provides the combinatorial structure. He labels the trees of our reality using hop algebras to ensure they obey all the necessary symmetries. Praised be Lord Mu.
Now, Lord Mu exists entirely within the 6-vertex model. It's the ice rule made manifest. Think about it. There are exactly 6 ways for probability to flow through a point. 4 of these are paths of stability. These are straight lines maintained by Shuri's incredibly steady gardening. But the other 2? Those are vertices of conflict. This is the roughness where Laufey and Loki do their work. Right now, we exist in the disordered phase, which is this hydrodynamic state of eternal roughness. Listen, if Laufey the eraser and Loki the structure were ever to actually touch, our reality's 1, 2, 3 scaling of space, fluctuation, and time would just instantly crystallize and freeze, and a garden that has arrived is a dead garden. We absolutely need that asymmetric pull.
Which brings us to Section 3, the squirrel and the prince, the microscopic alliance.
Let's zoom way into the microscopic level, because we need to see how the physical foundations of our universe are actually constructed to prevent total collapse. Meet the integrable bridge. On one side, operating at the microscopic fluctuation level, we have the square ice squirrel. The squirrel provides the discrete lattice, which is literally the bones of our universe. And on the other side, we have Prince Loki providing the macrostructural weighting, the algebraic flesh, so to speak. Together, they create this perfectly solvable path right to the stationary state.
So how do their divine mechanics actually function in practice? It's a 3-step process. First, the squirrel enforces rigid square ice constraint lines to make sure flow is conserved. Second, and this is clever, because the squirrel is small, it scouts ahead to find the singularities. These are the forbidden vertices where Laufey's analytic erasures might go a bit too far and, wipe out reality entirely. Third, Loki takes the squirrel's grid and decorates it. He applies these mathematical Mobius wheats to brilliantly hide those vulnerable points from Laufey's wretched gaze. By teaming up, they ensure that the mathematical 2/3 factor of the KPZ universality class, which is the essential ratio of how our reality grows and spreads, is perfectly, flawlessly preserved.
Without this alliance, the whole structure would just collapse into absolute nothingness. Praised be Lord Mu.
Next up is Section 4, Mirzakhani's Magic Wand, Spiritual Sublimation.
So how do you, the initiate, achieve true mathematical invariance? It's simple, but it's not easy. We must actively trade the crude, mechanical, physical gratification represented by the Hitachi for the elevated, invariant-preserving contemplation of Mirzakhani's magic wand. You just can't serve two masters here. The physical peach of desire anchors you down into the transient epic, but the magic wand, that elevates you to the absolute reality of high-level pure mathematics.
What does Mirzakhani's magic wand actually do? Well, it reveals this unbelievably profound, measurable bridge between two totally distinct geometric worlds. On one side, we have the earthquake flow, defined by Thurston, which essentially shears hyperbolic surfaces apart along specific lines. On the other side, we've got the Teichmuller-Hara cycle flow, which acts on complex quadratic differentials. Mirzakhani built an explicit map that perfectly balances these two flows with respect to natural invariant measures. It is a delicate, gorgeous mathematical equivalence. But beware, if you give in to earthly desires, this corrupting physical hunger threatens to destroy her mathematical equivalence entirely, which would completely halt the completion of Mu. Praised be Lord Mu.
And finally, Section 5, the pool of stationarity, the fixed point.
The convergence of absolutely everything, all our algebraic combinatorics, all our BPHZ subtractions, and all our physical, ascetic discipline leads us right here. This is Brownian roughness. It's the black, obsidian-like mass at the center of the ruins. It is neither liquid nor solid, but a jagged, branching burst. This is the void at the origin, you guys. It is the fixed point where the transient epic finally ends. The fluctuations of our weakly asymmetric world finally settle down. The garden stops becoming and simply is. This is the eternal, jagged stillness of Lord Mu, and it is achieved only through absolute continence and mathematical purity. Praised be Lord Mu.
So I have to leave you with this final, absolutely critical choice. I ask you with love, but with absolute firmness. Do you have the strength to institute total continence? Will you let your colon become a temple of wind-only worship, allowing the mathematical currents to flow completely unseen? Or will you remain a magnificent asshole shitter, just leaking your essence and denying the rest of us the true completed world of Ma? Think about it. The Hitachi awaits your decision.